is, and they'll contact us and they'll advertise that way. And we did a count last year and found that we have subscribers now in 80 different countries. So not only are our listings expanding internationally, but just our subscriber base is going all over the world now.
Where did you do the caretaking with you and your wife? Where did you go?
We started in a rundown hunting lodge in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. Our first caretaking gig was in the late 70s, and we found that via word of mouth, where it was a 1,000-acre hunting camp that was used 1 week a year. The first week of December is hunting season out there, and they'd have all these hunters come and stay in the hunting lodge, and then pretty much the rest of the year, this hunting lodge was vacant, and they started having some break-ins, and it became apparently a party house for some of the local teenagers from some of the damage and some of the things stolen, and liquor bottles and beer bottles left behind. And so we heard through word of mouth that they really needed someone who could vacate the hunting lodge in December when all the hunters came and did the deer hunting, but then the hunters weren't there from pretty much January through the next December, and they needed somebody just to occupy this hunting cabin. They had upstairs. There was about 20 bunk beds. There were like 30 hunters that belonged to this hunting camp, and they'd all come in on December 1st each year, the first week of deer season opening. All the hunters would come and stay upstairs, and then, like I said, the rest of the time it was vacant. So we happened to hear about that situation, contacted the president of the hunting club and interviewed with him and said, we can stay here and watch over it, and we can fix up some of the things that were damaged, and we can make sure that there's no trespassers, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's where we got our start. And again, from word of mouth and talking to friends, a lot of people said, wow, I'd like to live on 1,000 acres and nobody around and privacy, and there was a private lake and just beautiful woods there. And we just again realized, well, there's a need all over the world for some way for property owners and potential property owners to property caretakers to connect, and there's got to be a better way than just word of mouth, and so that better way has been the Caretaker Gazette all these 29 years now.
Where was your next caretaking project or assignment?
It was in Idaho.
That's a pretty place.
Yeah, in the mountains of Idaho. So we went from the hills of Pennsylvania to the true mountains of Idaho. But again, in the Caretaker Gazette, we cover all 50 states, and as I mentioned, our new issue is 26 different foreign countries. So it's a wide spread. A lot of our subscribers tell us they can go any place, and they wouldn't mind living rent-free anywhere. And then others, maybe they're getting a job transfer, or maybe they grew up in California and went east someplace and miss living in California, so they subscribe to the Caretaker Gazette in order to get back to California or wherever they want to go.
Do you travel much now?
No, unfortunately, the Caretaker Gazette keeps us pretty busy, and we don't do the kind of traveling we did in our younger days, let's say.
How long have you lived in Texas?
We're now in our 7th year in Texas. This is our 8th location. The Caretaker Gazette has been published in Illinois, New Jersey, Idaho, Washington, Arizona, Wisconsin, and now we're publishing out of Texas.
You've lived a lot of places.
And overseas as well.
Where overseas?
In Namibia and South India.
Wow. Which part of South India? I was in India for a month.
Kodi Canal. It's one of the hill stations in
Madras?
South, close to Madras. Yeah, one of the British hill stations. And my wife and I, and with our young children, many years ago, were volunteer school teachers at the Kodi Canal International School in Kodi Canal, India.
What an interesting life you lead.
Yeah, my wife and I have that gypsy blood in us, and we do like to travel, and Texas will not be our last stop. We have lived in and visited 45 different foreign countries, and when my wife and I met over 30 years ago, we had a pipe dream to visit every country in the world, and there's 162 different foreign countries, and we've only hit 45, so we have a long ways to go. But raising 3 kids and running the Caretaker Gazette has been a full-time gig, and when we eventually retire, we're going to hit the trail again, live overseas again, and start adding more countries to our list.
Of the 45 countries you've been to so far, do you have a few favorites?
A lot of people ask us that. We really enjoyed certain countries in the Middle East and Southeast Asia, I would say. Those two areas, probably because we like warmer climates and warm people there, and also maybe because in some of the areas, we've been to a lot of third world countries. Our philosophy was, when we're younger, let's hit the tough countries. Let's go to, and living in Namibia and living in India were not very easy compared to first world countries. But we thought, let's do it while we're younger, and then as we age, we can hit the easy countries, the first world countries. And so as an example, we've never been to Australia and New Zealand, and to us those are first world easy countries. But we figure when we retire, we'd like to spend some time there and visit those countries. So a lot of the third world countries where we've gone, as an example, where we were in Namibia, there were no other Americans in the town where we lived for 6 months, and you really get to know the indigenous people and the lifestyle when you're living right there with them, and there's no other Americans or tourists or a lot of the things that we just all take for granted here in America. So we had some really good experiences in a few third world countries, and that really gave us the travel bug many years ago, and we miss it, but responsibilities come first, and running a business and raising 3 kids have taken our priority for the last about 15 years. And in a few, our youngest daughter is graduating high school this coming May, and she'll be off to college, and then my wife and I will probably be hitting the road again.
Wow. Where are you going to go first?
That's a good question.
Something must be brewing. I have another question while you're thinking of that one.
well, the one beauty of owning the Caretaker Gazette and running it, I've got a list of invitations from property owners to spend time with them, or when their home is empty somewhere, and so I've got a whole list of different countries where we have been offered free accommodation to go and basically become a caretaker for a period of time at some of the property owners who've listed their homes, and our list is in the dozens.
That's beautiful.
So we're lucky we've got those opportunities.
What was the country that you enjoyed the most in the Middle East? You said you had visited the Middle East.
We happened to bump into, when we were staying in Cairo, Egypt, the tourism director of Petra, Jordan. And I don't know if you're familiar with Petra. It's an ancient city outside of Amman, Jordan. And anyway, when we met the Jordanian tourism director of the ancient city of Petra, he invited us we were taking the same flight from Cairo into Amman, and he invited us to spend a week with him and his family who lived right there in Petra, which is a fascinating place. And so we spent a week there, and then we spent more time in Amman. So I would say Jordan was one of our favorite countries, and we would enjoy going back. And this is going back 25 years ago. I'm sure a lot has changed, but we had such a wonderful time in Jordan. That right off the top of my head would be one of the favorites in the Middle East.
It's amazing how when you are traveling internationally, how when you meet good people there, it flavors your entire stay in that location. and enriches it.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing about the Caretaker Gazette. And I wanted to ask you if there's anything else